A few days ago, Dana White came out with a pretty big announcement through their social media platforms detailing some fights coming up in the summer, and I just thought it'd be fun to break them down, see what we're getting out of them, and which ones I'm most excited for, which ones kind of don't make sense, and which ones have the biggest title implications at play. We're going to go in chronological order, so if you guys want to skip any, the timestamps will be right here. All right, let's start with Belal Muhammad versus Gilbert Burns, 5 rounds, co-main at UFC 288 in 2 weeks. I'm super excited for it. I think the winner should obviously have a title shot over Colby Covington. I don't understand the UFC's obsession with just guaranteeing him a shot just based off of a win over Jorge Masvidal, who is now retired, and before he was retired, after he lost to Gilbert, was ranked 14th. I mean, like, why can't we at least see him fight somebody before he goes and fights Leon? I don't understand it, but that's besides the point. I think this fight's going to be awesome. I think Gilbert Burns takes it because he just fought. He's probably in better shape. Belal, 5 rounds on 2 weeks notice. That can't be easy. Should be fun to watch though. I expect it to actually go 5 rounds, 4 to 5 rounds at the very least. I could see Gilbert getting a finish. I'd be super surprised if Belal got the finish, but hey, I thought he was going to get killed by Sean Brady. I admit I was completely wrong. He could come out and surprise, shock the world, and make you guys remember the name. But overall, I'm going to take Gilbert Burns. I could see a late finish by him, or I could see him win by decision. If he wins, he should unequivocally be the front runner right now to win Fighter of the Year. I know it's early, but he beat Neil Magny in January, he beat Jorge Masvidal in April, and he would have beat Belal Muhammad a month later on 2 weeks notice. That's 3 top 15 guys in 6 months. That is crazy. Do not let this man win a title because it would be unequivocally him for Fighter of the Year. He's making a strong case. I love Gilbert. He's one of my favorite fighters. I think if he were to fight for the belt this year, I actually think he would win. He's a tough out against anybody. He's willing to fight anybody, and he just shows it. He doesn't expect anything. He doesn't just want a title shot. He wants to go earn it, and for that I respect it. Much respect to both of these guys, Belal and Gilbert, both stepping up, giving the fans what they want. Violence, that's all we want to see, and shout out to these guys for always obliging. And I think it's going to be an awesome fight, and I can't wait. Next is probably my favorite fight out of all of these that were announced. Charles Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush. Gonna give the Canadian fans what they deserve in the co-main of UFC 289. As far as who I'd pick, how I think the fight's gonna go, I think it's really a toss-up. Oliveira is always susceptible to putting himself in really dangerous positions because he has a very dangerous fight style. He's there to kill or be killed, literally. And I think against a guy like Dariush, who doesn't make very many mistakes, it will be really tough to overcome that. It's also a guy that in Dariush that he's not afraid to go to the ground with Oliveira, although, it's not saying that he's necessarily better than him. Probably not. I mean, Charles Oliveira has the most submissions in UFC history, obviously, but this isn't a guy that's scared to grapple with him at all. I think Dariush's grappling could neutralize Charles's. So, could be a stand-up fight. If it's a stand-up fight, I'd lean Oliveira a little bit, but for some reason, I have this feeling that Dariush is going to pull it off. This is a guy who deserves a title shot, and a win gets him that unequivocally. We cannot debate that anymore. I respect it. I mean, he's just like Gilbert Burns. He doesn't expect a title shot. He just wants the opportunity to earn one. I feel bad because it's just been delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. They make him go through obstacle and obstacle and obstacle and obstacle, and it sucks. But a win here absolutely puts him in the main event slot with Islam Makhachev in Abu Dhabi, October 22nd. I believe that's UFC 294. But as we know, you can't count out Charles Oliveira. It's not smart. Anytime that we bet against him or we expect him to lose, he somehow finds a way. And obviously he's coming back with a vengeance. He's gotten some rest after a grueling 8 or 9 months fighting just killers back and forth. You could argue he carried the UFC last year. He was definitely Fighter of the Year in my books. Always puts on performances, and I expect UFC 289 to be the same. Who do you guys have winning that fight? The next main event that was announced was another one of these guys that are trying to get back to Izzy. Marvin Vettori versus Jared Cannonier, June 17th, I believe, in the Apex as well. I don't know who's going to take it. Interested, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Whoever takes it, good luck to both. I'm kind of a small fan of Jared Cannonier. It'd be nice to see him win. Really don't love Marvin that much, but I don't really care if he wins either. I believe this will be a pick'em fight. It could go either way. Next is one of the other ones I'm super excited for. Ilia Topuria versus Josh Emmett, June 24th, main event in Jacksonville, Florida. I believe the UFC believes that Ilia Topuria has star power. Therefore, they're giving him his own fight night main event in front of fans. Florida fans, they're always crazy, always fun, and I think that this is a huge opportunity for Ilia Topuria. I think unequivocally, if he wins, he gets the next title shot, because 145 really doesn't have many contenders. They could use some more, and I believe that Topuria has it, that star power, that it factor. I believe he could be one of the UFC's next big stars. He's one of my favorite young fighters in the world. Josh Emmett is game. He's going to be tough to get through. Coming off that loss from Yair, he's going to want to get it back in blood. He's going to want to come back with a vengeance. I expect nothing less. He will be tough to get past. Us as fans, we always expect the young guy to always beat the old gritty vet, but that's not always the case. You know, we see it with Justin Gaethje and Fiziev. We see it with Max Holloway and Arnold Allen. It's not always guaranteed. Ilia Topuria is going to have to really earn it, but I do believe he has what it takes, and I think after that, I think him and Volkanovski would be a crazy fight, super fun to watch. I would love that. I just want to see Volkanovski against new contenders like him and Yair. That's going to be awesome to watch. And I'm not discounting Yair at all. I think Yair has what it takes to win against Volk as well, but it would most likely, be Topuria versus Volkanovski next, if he gets past Yair, of course. And that is a fight that I will absolutely make a video on it. I would love that fight. That would just be pure violence. Two guys that are studs, have very little weaknesses, young prospect, big potential star up against the pound for pound number one. Like, that'd be awesome. I would love to see that, and that's why I will be rooting for Topuria, but I will not be surprised if Josh Emmett pulls it out at all. Next is one that confused us all as UFC fans. Sean Strickland versus Abus Magomedov, July 1st. I believe it's in the Apex, the main event. Sean Strickland is now on his third main event in the Apex. I just don't understand why he took this fight. I mean, I get it. He posted an Instagram story. I'll attach it here, and you can see basically his explanation why he felt he had to take the fight, because if he didn't take it, he would have been out of fights for another 6 months, which I guess I understand, but I still don't feel it's really necessary for him to fight Magomedov. It would have been nice to see him fight somebody else. It's clear that the UFC thinks highly of Magomedov. He gave Dustin Stuffoltz a foot in the mouth in, I believe it was in France. It was a great fight. He looks scary. He looks like someone who could definitely give Izzy a run for his money, I guess, but I don't know. I mean, why? I mean, I just don't understand why that's the fight. Why we have to give that to him. You're just shooting him into the top 10. Like, that's crazy. It just makes no sense. The UFC always picks who they want to prop up and who they think highly of. It makes sense, but Magomedov isn't like Khabib, or he isn't like Islam. I mean, he's a beast, don't get me wrong, but I'm not sure he has the wrestling prowess that they do, but I'm not super educated. I'm just kind of inferring based off of what I do know. Yeah, I mean, I think Strickland could lose. It's a 50-50 fight again. Strickland's so awkward and really tough to fight. It's hard to prepare for a guy like that because he's so unorthodox. He's game. He's a vet. I'm not saying he deserved a title shot or anything, Sean Strickland did, but I wouldn't have been mad because, Izzy said he wanted to flip around and fight in 8 weeks. 8 weeks is in June at 289. He could have, I personally feel like Izzy could have fought one of Strickland or Duplessis in 8 weeks, and maybe he's ready to fight again in Australia in a few months. Like, Izzy's that kind of fighter that if he doesn't get super injured, he can fight 3 or 4, even, it's crazy, even 5 times a year. He's more than built for it. I know Izzy probably would have beat Strickland potentially fairly easily, But I mean, why not? I mean, it's fun. It gives the Canadian fans something awesome. And then if Izzy comes out of there healthy, he's good to fight the winner of Duplessis and Whittaker, or Strickland and Whittaker, and he fights Duplessis in Canada. I mean, I get it. You know, you don't want to risk it. I think the UFC is trying to save their main event for Australia. They want to bring their star to Australia. They know that Izzy will sell out there, so I get it. It just would have been fun to watch. I would have loved to see Izzy try and get 3 or 4 fights this year. It would have been awesome, but again, I understand. It will be interesting to see who wins. Where does Strickland go if he wins? Where does Magomedov go if he wins? If Magomedov wins, is he one win away from a title shot? If Sean wins, who would be next for him? Could it be the loser of Whittaker and Duplessis? Who knows? Let me know what you guys think. Next is another fight I'm super excited for that Dana announced. Robert Whittaker versus Dricus Duplessis. 3 rounds, International Fight Week, UFC 290. I will be in Vegas. Hopefully, I'll be able to go to the fights. Who knows how crazy ticket prices are going to be, because you know that card's going to be stacked. This is a fight I'm super excited for. Dana literally said winner gets a title shot in Sydney, Australia in a couple months. I'm assuming early fall, late summer. Everyone on Twitter, and me included, thinks there's no shot Robert Whittaker loses to Duplessis. I agree. I just don't see it happening, but obviously it's MMA. Anything can happen. Everyone has a chance. Duplessis supposedly got nose surgery, and now he can breathe out of his nose, so his gas tank will be improved. We'll see. Doesn't necessarily mean that he has what it takes to beat Whittaker. This guy is one of the best 185ers ever. I'm just excited to see Rob perform. He's one of my favorite fighters. He always brings it. He always fights hungry. He never point fights. He's always going for the kill. Even if he doesn't always get it, you never really get a boring Robert Whittaker fight. He's a master at his craft. Anytime I get to watch him fight is a treat for me, so I will be super excited to watch him fight. I don't really have much of an interest in seeing him fight Izzy again, but if he wins, it's undoubtedly super deserved for him to get another chance at Izzy. It's only right. We gave it to Max Holloway, and if it's in Australia, of course, fans are going to show up for Rob. They love him. The US fans love him. I'm sure we'll all tune in anyway, because, again, he always brings it. He said on Ariel Helwani's show that he thinks he has what it takes to beat him if they fight a third time. So, I mean, why not? Let's give him a shot. He's game. I'm sure he'll come out for the kill against Duplessis. As far as Duplessis goes, I would love to see him win, because I want to see Izzy and him fight. I love the backstory, even though some people don't, and I get it. You know, some of the things that Duplessis says don't sound great, but they are fun to... It's fun to build up a fight, because this is the perfect UFC Africa event, by the way. It would be really frustrating if we don't see this fight in Africa at some point in time. I will settle for it in Australia if he wins against Robert Whittaker. I think it'll be a good fight for Izzy. I think he'll get another title defense, and I kind of would love to see angry Izzy, and I think that Duplessis has unlocked angry Izzy. And it's very clear that when Izzy fights guys like this, he really gets up for the moment. And when he gets up for the moment, we get the best performances. And I fear that he's not as excited to fight Rob a third time. Whether that's right or not, it's just what I gather when I listen to Izzy speak. Let me know what you guys think. I think everyone in the comments is going to say Whittaker via murder. I don't blame you guys. Another fight that was technically announced a couple days ago, but he says he's already announced it. Maybe I missed it. Brandon Moreno versus Alexander Pantoja, UFC 290. Pantoja is kind of like Brandon Moreno's Alex Pereira. He's beat him twice. It will be not an easy fight. Pantoja always goes for the kill. He always goes for the kill. He is tough to beat, man. He's not going to be an easy fight for Brandon, but if Brandon can get past him, I'm 99% sure the UFC will immediately, as soon as they possibly can, have a main event for Brandon Moreno in Mexico right after this. I think that would be freaking awesome. I would love to see it. I think this fight will be interesting. I think Brandon has the better stand-up. I think that Pantoja has the better grappling. I do feel like Brandon's grappling has really improved over the past few years, so I'd really love to see it a third time. I want to see if that grappling can be neutralized at all. I mean, again, like, Pantoja's like a monkey, man. He's tough to get off your back once he's there. Like, he wraps around you and it's over. And I'm just interested to see what Brandon's game plan is going to be going into that. I'm also interested to see what Pantoja's game plan is going to be as well. Is he going to try and mostly grapple, or is he going to be willing to stand with Moreno? It will be interesting to see. I'm going to take Brandon because I love Brandon. I would love to see him main event in Mexico, like I just said. But I will not be surprised at all if Pantoja pulls it off. The last fight Dana White announced was Jalen Turner versus Dan Hooker. 3 rounds, International Fight Week, UFC 290, July 8th. That's another awesome fight. I mean, it depends what version of Dan Hooker we're going to get. He's looked a little bit better lately, but Jalen Turner is a bad man, dude. Anytime he comes out there, he's looking for the kill. He's long. He's really, really tough to figure out. His range at 155 is crazy. He's like 6'3" at 155 pounds. Like, that's unreal. It'll be awesome to watch that. I think Turner can take it, but if this turns into a brawl, you never know, man. You can't bet against Dan Hooker. It's just not smart. But I do not see this fight going the distance at all. No chance. Jalen Turner coming off a very controversial split decision loss. I feel like his confidence is at an all-time high. He's going to come, looking for the kill, and I think he's going to be really hard to stop. I think that after he potentially beats Dan, he's a fight or 2 away from the title, definitely. And he's tough to figure out. He is not an easy test for anybody in 155-pound division. Love Dan. It would suck to see him lose. I hate seeing him lose, but Jalen Turner, he's a problem. Lastly, Dana White announced that July 22nd, the UFC will be returning to London for a fight night, not a pay-per-view, sadly. Would have loved to see Leon versus Colby in July just to get this over with, because I want the 170-pound division to continue rolling. But anytime the UFC's in London, it's a big event. They try and put as many good fights on there as possible. I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Aspinall headlines coming off a knee injury. He says he wants Marcin Tybura, which would be awesome. I think it would be a great comeback fight for Aspinall, and I would love to see him get back on the winning track, because again, he was a guy who was, if he had beat Blades, he was maybe 1 fight away from a title shot. I think if Aspinall wins, I would not be surprised if we see him fight Ciryl Gane next, and that is not an easy fight for Ciryl. It will be interesting to see how the heavyweight division plays out. I personally think that we're going to see Sergey Pavlovich versus Tom Aspinall for a vacant heavyweight title sometime next year. It'll be super awesome to see him come back. I also am super excited to see who else they put on that July 22nd card. Straight bangers. I already know it's coming. I'm super excited for it. And let me know what you guys think. Let me know which one of these fights is your favorite and who you guys think is going to win them. Like, comment, do all that stupid stuff. All right, see ya.